Hi, I'm Chris. Thanks for joining us at the Metro Hotel. We're here today to give you some insider tips on how to get your film into film festivals and what to do to make the most of that window of opportunity once you get in. Hopefully this video will save you money, plus trial and error time. We'll cover both short film and feature film submissions. I will be interviewing a filmmaker whose feature, My Suicide, won the Crystal Bear Award at the Berlin International Film Festival, along with other awards. You'll see sample submission and press materials from the multiple award-winning short, Dormy, as well as a brief interview with its filmmaker. We'll cover the submission basics and then walk you step by step through the process. First, let's talk real quick about your film. This video isn't meant to be about making a film, but in case you haven't finished yours yet, here are a few tips that will help increase your odds of getting your film selected. For a short film, the shorter the better. Festivals have a real hard time fitting in a 20-minute short film anywhere. It would use up the time slot where 2 or 3 short films might fit. Your running time might be what ends up keeping you out of festivals. It would need to be over-the-top spectacular to be accepted anywhere. The ideal length for a short is somewhere between 2 and 9 minutes. This will give you an advantage of being an easy fit. Another thing is to look out for credits that are too long. I made this mistake myself. It's nice to thank everybody and everything, but think about it. If you have a 5-minute film with 3 minutes of credits, it's going to be 3 minutes of dead time where the festival could have programmed something else. And that's going to be a problem. I've heard of a short film where the credits ended up being just as long as the film itself. Find a way to keep the credits super short in a short. For a feature film, there are also things you could do to give yourself an advantage. Although this is changing fast, shooting on 35mm film used to be favored. And at some festivals, it still is. But again, this is changing so fast, I don't know if it's a big enough advantage to go into Hawk for. Having a name actor or actors in lead roles definitely is a plus. They don't need to be A-list actors necessarily, but someone who is recognizable. Of course, this is not absolutely essential. There have been some fantastic indie film hits that don't have any name actors among the cast, because plain and simple, what you need to do is make a great film. A story that's fresh and engaging, believable actors, and characters you care about are what's most important. In the digital age, the competition has gotten fiercer. So you need to be aware that the bar has really been raised as far as production value of indie films. If your budget is so small that it's not possible to get high production quality, I'd first say, try to find more money. But if you're hell-bent to start now, there are places where non-perfection is more forgivable than in other places. Not having the visuals perfect in every shot is not as annoying as bad sound. Make sure to get good sound. Bad sound deems a film unsellable, so it's important to know what your goal is for the film. Are you hoping to get distribution or just creating a calling card or showpiece for the film festivals? So now what about the film festivals? I highly recommend researching and attending film festivals before you start your film. If you didn't do that, it's not too late. Start now. Go to the film festivals so you can see firsthand the quality of the films being selected. If you can't afford to go to many, try to get to at least one major film festival and one smaller one. Pick festivals that you think your film would be right for. This way, you get a better feeling of what they are all about. Let's hear what Eric Adams of the film My Suicide has to say about this.
We started researching festivals even before we ended our film because we knew the festival route was going to be very important for an independent film like ours. And what we found out is that there are very distinct tiers of festivals.
Right.
There's sort of the A-list festival, the B-list festival, the C-list festival, and I think it probably goes all the way down to the Ds and the Js even. So we started at the very top, and we started with Berlin, the Berlinale Film Festival in Berlin, and we also went to San Francisco and South by Southwest, and we were very lucky to get into each one of these. My Suicide is my first feature film. I was co-writer and producer on it. Had a great opportunity to work with a fantastic cast and crew, both in the Bay Area of San Francisco and Los Angeles. It's the story of a boy, a media geek loner, who announces in his high school video class that he's going to kill himself on camera for his class project. And the film is, first of all, everyone's reaction to his pronouncement, and then secondly, his journey to decide whether life is worth living or not.
Have you ever felt like your life was just one big movie?
Well, see, mine is.
My name is Archie.
Archibald Holden.
Buster Williams.
I was a TV fetus. I had a camera on me before I was even born. I grew up with everything that a kid could possibly want. I was programmed to behave the American dream.
And the girl you choose to dream about.
Sierra.
She doesn't even know who I am. I think you're beautiful. Even if you did have a nose job.
I hate this place, this zoo, prison, this reality.
Today is the day that I need to know what you guys are doing for your film projects. What you got?
For my project, I'm gonna kill myself on camera.
It's not funny at all.
You're a good student in this class.
I understand that. Y'all make the lighting really good.
How do you find out which film festivals are most likely right for your film? There are great books out there to help you with your research, such as Film Festival Secrets by Christopher Holland, or Ultimate Film Festival Survival Guide by Chris Gore. Read up on as many film festivals as possible. There are tons, so there is no way you could afford to submit to all of them. There are some genre-specific, such as fantasy film festivals, documentary film festivals, children's film festivals, etc. Check out the websites of the ones you are interested in. And don't forget to look at the films they screened last year to help narrow down the festivals that would be right for your type of film. Be selective where your film premieres. The major film festivals require, or at the very least strongly prefer, a premiere status. So if you are lucky enough to be one of the select few whose film is chosen to screen in one of the top film festivals, don't blow it by allowing your film to screen in a smaller festival first. You could be forfeiting your film screening in the bigger festival.
Now, what we found out also is that if you premiere in Berlin, the Cannes Film Festival might not necessarily want you. If you premiere in South by Southwest in Austin, Sundance might not necessarily want you. So you have to be very careful about selecting your film festival, because the film festival that you select is the one that you are going to for that major premiere. For us, timing worked out domestically. South by Southwest was a great time for us. It worked well. Berlin was a great festival for us internationally. The second rule of selecting a film festival is after you have picked and shown at your A-list festivals, if indeed you're lucky enough to get in, then you can move on to a B-list festival that will allow you to come to their festival even though you've gone to a larger festival. So in other words, you can start at the top and start trickling down with your film, but you can't trickle up with your film. And it's a very important thing, because a lot of filmmakers we've met on the circuit started very small. They sent to festivals where maybe they know someone or they had an in, and then they realized only later that going to that festival precluded them from going to one of the bigger festivals where the distributors are, where they really were going to do the kind of networking that would help their film get sold. After we went to the Berlin International Film Festival, our film My Suicide went to South by Southwest in Austin, which is a wonderful, large, big film festival that is really an up-and-coming film festival in the United States. And the first thing that struck me about South by Southwest is how different it was than Berlin. Not only the cities in which they're held, but the way that the festivals are run. And with subsequent festivals, we also found that every single festival is different. There are different rules, there's different ways of meeting people, there's different festival guidelines, and it's really important to think about each festival as its own. We made the mistake of thinking, well, we went to Berlin, we know Berlin, we must know everything about South by Southwest. It would be a duplicate effort, but it wasn't. And there was a different way of networking and of understanding how to get our film with the type of exposure that we wanted. And so when we went to South by Southwest, we had to learn everything over again. It's as if you're going to a different nation or speaking another language. Another thing that we found out is that film festival directors talk to each other all the time. So if there's a good film in one film festival, that word is going to get out. After we got into the Berlin International Film Festival, we started getting invitations from Auckland and Sydney and Rome and Cairo, and film festivals that never would have heard of us had we not been in Berlin, and we would have never gotten those invitations. Now, we weren't able to go to all of them, but it's wonderful to have those opportunities to go to film festivals around the world, which is really fantastic. And the same thing happened domestically as well. After our film was in South by Southwest, all of a sudden we started getting invitations from film festivals, regional and large city film festivals across the country. It's very seductive in a way when you get these film festival invitations, because you think, oh my gosh, they love us, they love our film, let's go, it's a great city, we're going to have a great time. But be careful and make sure that you have a film festival strategy. Again, make sure that you're going to the top tier film festivals first, the big regional film festivals second, the local film festivals third, and then any specialty film festivals perhaps fourth.
The list for the top 12 film festivals varies a little depending on who you ask. In my humble opinion, here are the top 12 film festivals, the ones where the big film industry people show up, although there are other significant festivals not listed here. Most festivals screen both features and shorts. There is a film festival strictly for shorts worth mentioning, because they're so proactive for their filmmakers and because of the large amount of distributors from around the world in attendance. This fantastic film festival is the CFC Worldwide Shorts in Canada. And then there are still other strong film festivals, such as CineQuest, and I personally had the best time at the Tiburon International Film Festival. So I have invited Saeed Shafa here from that festival. Hi, Saeed. I'm going to start by asking what the philosophy is behind the Tiburon Film Festival.
Over the years, going to the different film festivals around the country as well as around the world, I noticed that most of them beginning to change path and become more commercialized and taking away opportunity from the independent filmmakers and giving that opportunity to the studios and established PR firms and things like that. And I didn't want to actually, didn't like it, especially like you see some of these films a week later at a regular neighborhood or movie theater. And what's the purpose of actually going to a film festival and seeing the same film in very short time after the festival is over? And then I noticed that that opportunity was taken away from the filmmakers, and especially the independent filmmakers. I wanted to go back to the roots of the festival and the origin of it, and give that opportunity back to the filmmakers. And we don't show any films that are actually made by any studios. It's purely for the independent filmmakers.
What are you looking for in a film?
One thing, and that is subject matter. As long as the subject is important, that is all it actually matters. It comes down to the subject. And if it's made very well, technically, and even like if there are actors involved, but then the subject is not as important, everything unfortunately will be in the shadow. So they have to just emphasize and concentrate on the subject matter.
Has the bar been raised quality-wise?
In some ways, yes, because more artists actually are able to make films, even though in the past it was very difficult for a lot of independent filmmakers, like working with the 35 or 16 millimeter films. And they had good ideas, but they never actually able to put it together. But nowadays, with the digital technology, they can do whatever they want to. And even if they actually make a lot of mistakes, they still can correct them easily and faster than before. So that is in their advantage in a way. And yes, we do. As a matter of fact, this opened up a lot of doors and areas to the filmmakers to put their thoughts on whatever digital format is.
What mistakes can jeopardize your submission?
I don't want to call it mistakes, but they work very hard to make their films. The only thing that because they're artists, they're not actually, they can promote their films, they cannot sell their films. So that's a different area and that they're not familiar with, which is understandable. Packaging, when they submit their films, unfortunately, a lot of them, when we get these submissions, don't have all the information, their information on every piece. That's one of the things that actually we get a lot of films, especially last few years, we've been receiving over 3,000 entries every year. So it's very possible that some of these pieces get separated. And even though we are very careful, and I'm sure that most all film festivals actually are very careful, but at the same time, they have to be very knowledgeable about what they're putting into their actually packages. Put their names, put their contact information, and things like that. Because if they get separated, it would be very difficult to locate them, especially when there are a lot of entries involved. And the other thing is, I guess they forget to put even the running time on their DVDs or screeners, for instance. This is very important. They have to put all the information, take extra time, and mark everything, write their contact information on every piece, in case, for any reason, if they got separated, and they can be located and be contacted.
What can a filmmaker do to optimize this opportunity?
We show between 250 to 270 films a year. We promote all of them. We cannot just like pick a few and then be very selective in that regard, that is not fair. And we never do that. At the same time that we promote all of them, the filmmakers have to realize that we can't do only so much. So they have to be proactive and do extra thing if they really like their films to be shown to a larger audience. They have to promote their own films themselves at the same time that we do, for instance. Some of them are very creative. As soon as they arrive in town, for instance, they start like talking to people. If they have postcards, they have like whatever promotional items they have, They pass them around on the street to strangers, for instance. And some of them even they actually make placards, like a A-frame or things like that, and walk around. And they show people that actually there is such a film that's going to be shown at the festival. So they take a lot of attention to their own films, which is good actually, because contact with the audience on the street directly themselves. So they promote their films in a better way than, in addition to the festival, actually does it overall in general. So that is something that they have to realize. It's very important, and don't leave it up to the festival alone to do it all for them.
Any additional words of wisdom?
Well, I would like the filmmakers think about at the same time that they look up to other filmmakers, the established or veteran filmmakers, be themselves. I mean, if they like to practice for a while copying other filmmakers, that is fine, but they have to look for their own style and be themselves and try to actually be creative and come up with their own ideas, not copying anybody else's, because it doesn't make sense, like we just repeating the same thing over and over, and they're not going to actually get anywhere, maybe for a while, but then not in the long run.
Another thing you want to consider when submitting to the festival is the film festival an industry event? Meaning there will be distributors there and other film industry people, or is it a regional event? Meaning those industry people probably won't be there, but it's a great way to get your film seen by the public and enjoyed. Also, out of the both industry and regional variety of festivals, find out which ones offer prizes.
Wherever you live, there is a film festival nearby. And take advantage of that. After you have gone to the Tier 1 film festivals or tried to get into the Tier 1 film festivals, go to your local or regional film festival, because you will get so much additional publicity because you happen to be local. Not only that, but then you can deliver the audiences to the film festival. And so the festival wins and you win, and then you start getting the press clippings that you can start building a portfolio that can create a buzz for you beyond the region you're in. Really take advantage of that local film festival if you can.
There are close to 1,300 film festivals now, so you've got a lot of researching ahead of you. Because most are not free to submit to, you don't want to waste your money by submitting your film to the wrong ones. Which brings us to the budget. Make sure you add the cost to submit your film to the festivals, to travel to the festivals, and to promote your film at the festivals into your film's budget from the get-go. It would be horrible to go through the hard work, effort, and cost to bring your film to life and then miss the window of opportunity to get it out there into the festivals to be seen. Most festivals don't want films older than 18 months. The good news is if you get picked by one of the top film festivals, they are visited by other film festival directors. The award-winning short fantasy film, Dormy, was only submitted to a handful of festivals, but after premiering at the Tribeca Film Festival, it was invited to another 34. If they invite you, they waive the submission fee. What should be a part of your film festival budget? There's the submission fee we already talked about, and the cost of a press kit, which we'll get into in just a moment. You'll also need to get a DVD copy of your film to send out. There's the cost of postage, mailing materials, and postcards, one sheet or movie posters, and don't forget the travel expenses. Some festivals will cover part of your travel expenses, or most of your travel expenses, especially if you've got a feature in the festival. All of these expenses can seriously add up.
One thing to remember is that there will be a cost associated with your film festival presence. You're going to be asked for cards, you're going to be asked for posters, you're going to be asked for collateral material. All these things you have to provide and make sure to budget for. Sometimes, or some of the larger film festivals will help you cover some travel and hotel costs, but not all the time. Don't be afraid to ask the festival, are there any costs that you will cover? Can you give us a hotel room for 3 to 5 nights? Could you cover the cost of our director flying over to your venue? Often just by asking, you shall receive, and other times the festivals will just say we don't have the money for that, and that's okay too, because it's an honor to be at any film festival.
Another expense you may want to consider is getting a publicist on board, at least for the duration of the bigger film festivals if you have a feature film. With a feature film you are hoping to get distribution for, you may want to consider getting a producer's rep. But be careful. In my opinion, if the rep feels confident he could sell your film, he won't need to ask for a really astronomical retainer up front. And find out how many films he's taken on at once. Don't let your enthusiasm blind you to any red flag. You want to make sure you've got someone who truly believes in your film and is working to get your film noticed and sold. I've seen some hopeful filmmakers being taken. So check him out and speak to filmmakers he's represented. If you've got a truly spectacular short film, it may be worth getting a short-term publicist as well. Okay, so what about the actual submission process? The first thing you want to do is go to the film festival's official website and read their submission guidelines. There is also a great online submission site that can save you time and money. If you plan to submit to a lot of festivals, I would sign up with withoutabox.com. For European and other international short film festivals, there's also shortfilmdepot.com. Go to these and check them out. You can upload your film info, press kit, and pay online, saving the hard copy and mailing costs. The only thing you are left needing to mail in is the submission form printout and the film DVD. It's your personal preference. Now, not all festivals are signed up with without-a-box submissions. Most European film festivals don't charge a submission fee, but of course, it costs more to mail in your materials. So now, what type of materials will you be sending in with your submission? It varies from festival to festival, so check out the festival submission guidelines on the official site. When using Without a Box, check the festival notes. Generally, you will be sending in a submission form which has all of your filmmaker and film info and your film on a DVD. Don't forget to clearly label your DVD with your contact info and your submission number, if you are given one. Then, if requested, send in a digital press kit. A lot of festivals don't ask for press kits unless they've accepted your film, which makes sense. However, even if not requested, I generally include one visual with my submission, such as a postcard, just to pique their interest. You'll need the postcards later to lay out at the film festival anyway, so it's not a waste to get them done. And it's quick, easy, and cheap to include one. When a film is accepted into a film festival, it's a good idea to send a press kit as soon as possible. So what do you include in a press kit? Again, it varies. Here's an example from Dormy.
Hi, I'm Sylvia Binsfeld. I'm the filmmaker behind the fantasy film Dormy. And Chris asked me to share my press kit with you today, which I'd love to do. I just want you to be aware that press kits do vary a little bit, but this is what I've put together for Dormy. Most press kits are digital now, but a film festival might request otherwise. I put my press kit on a CD with a cover image. Make it count. Choose an image that will make your press kit stand out from the rest in the stack. Label the CD as a press kit so it's easy to distinguish from your film DVD when mailed together. Make sure to indicate the title of your film, your name, and contact information, which should include your phone number with area code, in case someone wants to call you for an interview. Also, put the awards your film has won on the CD face. Anything to draw positive attention. Inside the press kit for Dormy, it included an awards page, a catchy logline, a short synopsis, a long synopsis, a filmmaker statement, main crew bios, and at least one or two of my strongest film images. You may be asked to include a director's headshot. I usually include one in black and white and one in color. Make sure they're clear, crisp, and close up. No wide shots. A quick tip for the festival once your film has been selected. Don't send an image to the festival that you don't want used in the program or on the film festival website. If you don't want it used, don't include it. That way you have more control over the way your film is represented. And name each image with the title of your film. For example, Dormy, Mermaid 300 DPI print, or Dormy, 3 Maidens, 72 DPI web. Remember, once the festival downloads your images, they have tons of images from other films too. Make it easier for them to know which image goes to which film. By the way, if you have a documentary, also include the info on the subjects, the people, with photos. If you've done a feature film or short, though it's not absolutely essential, it's nice to include a brief description of the lead characters. Photos are not necessary. Also, include a full credit list. I personally don't recommend sending extras with your submissions, such as t-shirts, candy, or anything else you hope will get your film noticed. A great film will get into the festival. If your film is not what they're looking for, those types of gifts will not help it get in. If you have the money to spend, save this stuff for later for handing out the festivals to create a buzz around your film. What you do want to send in with your submission are 2 glitch-free DVDs of your film. If you're creating the DVDs yourself, make sure to test them on more than one DVD player, especially if the festival will be screening your film on DVD. I've seen a few films miss their screenings because they simply wouldn't play properly. Once my film has received its first acceptance letter, I always get my DVDs professionally duplicated or replicated, since I'll be making more submissions. Plus, I usually plan to sell the DVD at the film festivals. Look into the pros and cons for that if you're seeking distribution. Another thing you're going to want to put together besides a great press kit is a fantastic trailer. You want to entice people and get them excited about seeing your film. This is what I put together for Dormy.
So now you have submitted to festivals, and the waiting period has begun. And possibly a few rejection notices have started showing up in your email box. We all get them. And then there's the one. Congratulations, your film has been selected. Once your film has been accepted into a film festival, what can you do to make the most out of your film festival experience and really use that window of opportunity that you've set up for yourself?
So tip number 1 would be when you arrive in the festival city, immediately put your luggage down at your hotel and go right to the office for the festival and check in, say hello, introduce yourself, get the schedule, get your badges, get a sense of the city that you're in, find out what the hot films are, where other filmmakers are staying, what are the big parties, make that connection. And I would recommend, at least on a daily basis, stopping into the office and saying hello. It doesn't hurt to bring chocolates or some flowers, you know, midway through the festival, just to kind of keep the festival staff connected with you. They appreciate anything. They work long hours, endless hours. So anything of that sort is always very helpful.
Although you still want to catch some films, the most important thing is to get out there and meet people and bring your postcards. To me, a postcard is one of the most valuable tools to bring to the festival. Hand them to people and lay them out. You want to put the film title, director, synopsis, running time, website, and postcard artwork credit on the back, on just the left half of the card. To save money, leave the right side blank so you can later place your own label with the festival name, screening location, dates and times, along with awards and/or top film festival screenings. Or you can go through the extra expense of having the entire card printed for each festival. Hand out your postcards to everyone you meet, including any VIPs, and invite them to your screenings. So what else can you do at the festival to promote your film? Well, for one thing, you could look up the local and regional newspapers online and send press releases to the entertainment editor. It's good to get an actual name, and of course, the industry papers as well, especially if your film wins an award. And as we mentioned before, network like crazy.
Here's another tip for your pre-festival checklist. Make sure you're the one who checks all of the credits on your film in the listing at the film festival. Remember that film festival programmers are dealing with hundreds of films. It's easy for them to miscredit the screenwriter or the producer or the director or the time or the color or the language of your film. Get on their site right away and make sure everything is correct, and correct it politely if it's not. It's so important to prepare and to have things ready, because you get to a film festival and there's so much going on, so many people that you're meeting, you're not going to have time to do the busy work that is necessary. So my tips would be, make sure that you have EPK, an electronic press kit, ready to go or online or already submitted to the festival. Make sure that you have all your collateral materials with you.
In terms of connecting with other filmmakers, that's critical. So what I'd also recommend is, again, find out what the hot films are, the interesting films are, what is speaking to you, and search those filmmakers out. Find out who they are. When you go into parties, everybody's there to meet each other and have a good time. So go up, introduce yourselves, don't be shy. Bring as many people with you, family, friends. The more attention that you bring to yourself, the more attention you get. When we've been at the festivals, we've had large numbers of friends and family with us. We have been the party. People have wanted to know us. They, everywhere we are has always been exciting. So it just draws attention to your film.
One of the great things about film festivals, if you have technical questions about cameras or equipment, there will be filmmakers there that know the equipment, know it, and you can have great conversations with them. If you have questions about distribution, there are filmmakers that are in the same position you are right now, trying to get their film distributed or have just gotten their film distributed. They can tell you the who, what, when, where about what's going on, and particularly the market at that time, because the film market is constantly changing. And at every film festival, things might be different. You can learn about cast and crew, and you can make connections that can get you access to stars that you might want to use for your next film. So networking with filmmakers should always be a top priority, no matter what your priorities are.
I think it's also critical to balance your time between seeing films and networking at parties and other panels. There's so much going on, and depending upon how large the festival is, like Berlin and South by Southwest, there was endless films and endless events. And so you really have to plan, if in advance is great, but on the morning of each day, look at your schedule, see what you need to do, make sure that you're balancing your films and also your time with other filmmakers, because that really brings it together. And what we found at festivals, it's very exciting to meet the filmmaker, and then that evening when you're at the lounge, the Filmmakers Lounge, which every festival has, you're getting to reconnect after having seen the film.
Most festivals now, particularly the larger festivals, have some sort of operation where you can download the schedule onto your smartphone or onto your computer. You can create your schedule based upon their schedule and really interact with the festival during the day, and that's a wonderful idea because, again, there are so many things that are going on. It's really nice to know that there's this film at 2:30, but at 4:30 you want to be over here for an open house. Try every day to figure out what your schedule is going to be for that day and try to keep it, but don't be afraid to step out of it as well, particularly if you meet someone that's interesting and you want to talk to them and have a cup of coffee or a drink with someone, which is always the most fun thing. You can really make some lifelong friends at film festivals, and we have.
I also recommend making sure you have Facebook, or at least create it, because we found, especially internationally, that's the way everyone's communicating. So everybody's been sharing photos from all the different festivals. We also run into other filmmakers, like when we were in Berlin, we also are going to see those filmmakers here. Some of them are screening films at the San Francisco Film Festival. So what we're finding is that Facebook is an excellent way of communicating with not only people who are crazy about your film and want to follow you, but also just other filmmakers. And so that's been a nice way of keeping internationally connected with people. In terms of the Q&A, Make sure, after every screening you'll have a Q&A most likely. Make sure, again, to thank the festival and any specific names, you know, the director of the festival. It's really, really critical, and a lot of filmmakers don't, which is very interesting. The other piece is have a sense of who's going to be on stage. You know, if you have 20 people from your crew there, kind of, maybe if it's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, depending, some festivals are specific, they say no more than 5. Some say you can bring as many, some want 2. Have a handle on who's going to go up there. But if key people are not on stage with you, point them out, have them stand up, recognize them. And I think that really just, even if they're not on stage with you, at least they're with you in spirit and recognized afterwards. And I found that afterwards, if certain people that were not on stage, they were approached by audience members who had specific questions about animation or other things related to your film.
One of the great moments in your film festival experience will be after your film has closed, the audience claps and you're invited up for a Q&A, a question and answer. It's a lovely moment because you get to talk about your film. A couple tips here. First, anticipate the questions that you're going to get and be ready to answer them. Make sure that you're enthusiastic about your film. You've been working on this film for a long time and your enthusiasm may lag just a little bit. But for the audience, this is the first time that they've seen this film. They're now interacting with the filmmaker. It's an exciting moment. Be in that excitement. And make sure that you are there and express your thanks and gratitude to everybody that is involved in the film and involved in the festival as well.
Don't be afraid to introduce yourself to the jury members. I think often filmmakers are hesitant to do that because they're afraid of approaching them or that they're going to get the wrong impression. I found that jury members at all the festivals were delighted to meet the filmmakers. So again, go up, say who you are, your film, and make the introduction. Most festivals also have audience awards. So if there is an audience award at the festival you're attending, make sure to announce after the Q&A or remind people to fill out their ballot. Often what will happen is the ballots are given when people walk into the theater. 2 hours later, they're mesmerized by your film and they're walking out, forgetting to actually vote. So remind them to vote. It's very critical, and get your crew to kind of say, don't forget to vote kind of thing. And people laugh and they vote, and that's how you win. You got to get the votes in.
What's next for My Suicide? Well, right now we've been to Berlin, South by Southwest, Newport Beach, Gen Art Film Festival in New York, San Francisco International Film Festival, and soon the Seattle International Film Festival. Our idea, part of our distribution plan, which is what many filmmakers are interested in when it comes to festivals, was to create a little bit of a buzz around these festivals and then take that buzz into distribution talks, because the idea is to sell the film. And ultimately, that's how a film is successful or not at the end of the day. We did that with My Suicide. We were lucky enough to win several awards, including the Crystal Bear in Berlin. We won the Audience Award and the Jury Award and the Emerging Artist Award at the Gen Art International Film Festival. We won Outstanding Achievement in Film at the Newport Beach Film Festival. And we got sold-out crowds in San Francisco. That helped us with our distribution talks. We're in right now as we speak, as a matter of fact. We've gotten a number of offers, and they're good offers. We're trying to make them better, but I don't think those offers would have come in had we not gone the festival route and made sure that everyone understood what our movie was about. And so for filmmakers, I think what's really important when you go to a film festival is know what your objective is. Is your objective to get distribution? Is your objective to network with other producers and directors and cast and crew members for additional projects? Is it to research what you should be doing? Is it just to have some fun? All these things are possible, but it's good to know what your objective is right at the start, because there are so many options every day for what you can do. You really want to make your decisions based upon what your objectives are.
Well, let's see now. Dormy was picked up by the Spiritual Cinema Circle, Gaiam, and they have a Spiritual Film of the Month Club, and Dormy made it in one of those compilations. Then also, Dormy is being put in the back of a picture book, so you can follow us on Facebook to find out when that's going to be released.
Well, that's it. Special thanks to our guest, Saeed Shaffa, founder of the Tiburon International Film Festival, Dormy filmmaker Sylvia Binsfield, and My Suicides Eric and Kathleen Adams. Best of luck on your filmmaking quest, and see you at the festivals. The shorter the better. Festivals have a real hard time fitting in a 20-minute short film in anywhere. The shorter the better. Festivals have a real hard time fitting in a 20-minute short film in anywhere. It would use up the time slot where two... Yeah. Yeah, I did. Festivals have a real hard time fitting in a 20-minute short film in anywhere. Where do you want to start from?
Another thing you're going to want to put together besides a great press kit. Slurring again?
Just a little, the words ran together.
Okay. Press kit. Okay. I didn't do any exercises before.
Can we do that one more time then?
Sure.
Yeah, just like last
I can't guarantee that it'll.
It was so perfect.
Be as brilliant.
If that's as good, we'll ignore it.
You'll ignore.
Because it's more of a message.
What were the last 2 sentences?
Another thing is, oh man.
You want to get people excited to see your film, kind of entice them to want to come in and make sure to include the title of your film, your name, and title. Why can't I speak all of a sudden?
Although I hear from the film festival programmers, they still have some crappy films to sift through. Make sure your film isn't one of them.